Hate speech. Fascist neo-Nazis speak at the racist Trump rally. Antifa's been getting a lot of flack lately, a lot of criticism. People are saying that the people that we say are Nazis that attack are not really Nazis. Well, I'm here to prove otherwise in this video. These people get together, they have their neo-Nazi recruitment rallies, they have their hate speech, and I'm here to prove it. On April 15th in Berkeley at the Martin Luther King Civic Center Park, they had their Nazi recruitment rally. In this video, you're going to see all the speakers. Yes, they had a PA system, they had a microphone, and they had speakers, just like they did in Nazi Germany. In this video, I'm going to show you the worst of these speakers, the worst racist, sexist, bigoted things that they said that day. And if you don't believe me, or if you want to see the entire speech, just scroll down, look at the video description below to see the entire speeches. Well, here we go. Are you ready, folks? Trigger warning, you're in for some serious fucking racist hate speech. I could not find any one video that had all of the speakers. If you know of a video that has any of the speakers I did not feature in this video, please let me know and give me a link. Thank you. Oh, and sorry, I don't know who this first speaker is. If you know his name, please tell me in a comment below. Thank you.
Not submission, not authoritarianism. If you agree with me, say yeah.
Yeah! Wait, being against authoritarianism is being against collectivism, and that's fascist. Being against authoritarianism is fascist.
Now, last year when the Pulse nightclub happened, okay, the reality is that the gun community, a lot of conservatives said, you know what, we disagree, we have disagreements with you on other things, but you have a right to life. And for that, I'd like to thank Republicans, Christians, and gun owners for standing up because our organization has grown nationwide. They said, hey, you know, the Pulse nightclub was created by a traitorous Islamic radical terrorist who shot 100 of our fellow Americans, and that's unacceptable in America. Absolutely unacceptable. Now, are there things that I disagree with Donald Trump? Yeah, they are. But overall, he is an American nationalist. We have a president who is for America first, unapologetically. You know, I support free speech even for this gentleman out here. So let's give, yes.
If you support free speech for racists, you're a fascist.
Free speech is not about protecting what's politically correct. It's about protecting unpopular ideas, unpopular expression. So even though it burns my heart when I see someone burning Old Glory, you know, they have a right to be stupid, right? Okay, we are the bigger people. We've taken the high road. Okay, we're brave, and we come into the People's Republic in Berkeley to stand for free speech. And if these people ever came to fly over country and they wanted, you know, we would show them, well, we'd show them more respect than they're showing us here, right? Anyway, I'd like to thank the organizers for letting me say a few words. And again, I'd like to thank each and every one of you for being brave, for standing up for free speech. Because, you know, it's just brave, you know. In all honesty, I had my fear about coming up here today. But you know what I said? If we let free speech die here, then we're going to let it die everywhere. And we just can't do that. That's unacceptable. Would you agree? Yeah. Okay, so thank all of you for coming here today. So thank all of you for coming here today. Be brave, set example for your friends. When people said, what did you do on Saturday, April 15th? You say, I went to the belly of the beast and stood for the Constitution because I support America. I'm an American. I'm damn proud of it. We are the best country in the world. And you know what? We are going to make America greater than it's ever been. And as Torch and Liberty will shine bright, we'll set example for the rest of the world. And, you know, if we're going to have one world government, it's going to be based on the Declaration of Independence, the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, that governments get their power from the consent of the people, no to globalism, no to, global tyrannical order.
If you are against globalism and one world government, you are a nationalist, and that makes you fascist.
Okay, America is great because, in my view, the creator, what makes America great is not the land, it's its people and the belief in the values. Thank you, everybody, and I'll let somebody else have the mic.
Hello, everybody. My name is Jeffrey Mark Klein. I am based in LA. I am here to talk about free speech. That's what we're all here for. We're here to protect it. We're here to fight for it. I am a homosexual. Sure. By the way, thank you for your speech, sir. One gay after another. That's what we do around here. I'm gay, and they on the other side don't particularly like when gay guys are on this side for some reason. And I can't imagine being on that side with what they stand for and being gay, because gay people, in order to be ourselves, we need freedom of speech more than anything. And they're trying to silence that. I don't understand. It doesn't make any sense. The thing I've noticed about free speech in America lately is the anti-free speech people, they don't just want us to stop saying whatever it is they're talking about. What are they even asking us to stop saying? That's what I'm a little confused about. They're asking us to stop saying we like our president? Is that what they're trying to do? I don't know. No one can ever answer that question. They can't. We can't. This tiny, screaming Filipino woman claw at my arm, all in the name of, I'm guessing, anti-free speech. So that's what we're up against. They also don't like the fact that I'm a gay, Christian Trump supporter. But every Trump supporter I've ever met has been fully supportive of me as a gay Christian. Thank you. I feel, in terms of safe spaces, I feel safer surrounded by Trump supporters than literally anywhere else in the world. Until Antifa started throwing M80s across the DMZ, that started freaking me out. There it is! M80s! Celebrate your country by blowing up a small part of it. Thanks, guys. Beautiful. By the way, it might not be funny. Somebody could have actually gotten hurt in that. But you know, there's no such thing as a too soon joke.
It's his freedom of speech. If we remember in 1989, Tiananmen Square in China, there were lots of students, predominantly that came to protest the government for the freedom of speech, for the freedom of news.
Scattered protests continue to sputter, and there are new reports of skirmishes and violence in the wake of this weekend's massive military assault aimed at smashing China's pro-democracy demonstrations.
And they were shot down by their own government.
He yelled and shouted, and then as troop lorries were seen moving down the road, there was gunfire from those lorries.
Troops have been firing indiscriminately, but still, there are thousands of people on the streets who will not move back.
Over 200 people were killed.
The death toll estimates range from about 200 to about 1,000. See the video description for sources.
Trying to do what we're all doing right now, and that's expressing the way we think and the way we want to live our lives.
The bicycle rickshaws scooped up the injured. Others were shunted onto bikes and pedaled to hospital. Many were carried away by frantic local residents. There was confusion and despair among those who could hardly credit that their own army was firing wildly at them. It was hard at times to grasp that this army was launching into an unarmed civilian population as if charging into battle. From Tiananmen Square, the sound of gunfire sounded like a battle, but it was one-sided. A line of soldiers was strung out, facing a huge crowd. The air was filled with shouts of, "Fascists! Stop killing!" A huge volley of shots just as I left the front line caused panic. The young man in front of me fell dead. I fell over him. 2 others were killed yards away. 2 more people lay wounded on the ground near me. Ambulances screamed up to the troop line and were turned away. They couldn't get to the square. 2 ambulance drivers were shot and injured.
You know, folks, it should go without saying that these students, they wanted democracy and a free press in a socialist republic, okay? They're anti-socialist, okay? This was an uprising against socialism. These fascists deserve to be shot by the Chinese government, okay? You have no right to demand democracy in a socialist republic, you fascists. You know, and it's like the news reported as if it's a bad thing. Look, these were fascists, okay? You be a fascist, you deserve what you get. So don't be anti-communist, don't be a fascist.
The brutal assault by an estimated 30,000 Chinese troops ended at Tiananmen Square in the heart of Beijing, where thousands of students had been staging a sit-in for democracy for the past 3 weeks. Soldiers fired automatic weapons into crowds of civilians, and the casualties were staggering.
Let that sink in! You're here today and your own government kills you because they don't want you thinking for yourself. These Chinese students were carrying American flags. They had symbols like the Statue of Liberty, and they were killed by their own government. So we can't be afraid to assemble like we are right now. Because if we fail to show up at moments like this is when we start to lose our freedoms. Our freedom of speech especially. It means more to the whole world than we even know. America is the first country ever that came out and said everyone is created equal. The first country ever in existence to say that. I love it. No wonder everybody wants to come to America. Everybody. There's just a way to do it right. There's nothing wrong with obeying the law. There's nothing wrong with conforming to how the United States runs things. When people come here, we shouldn't conform to them. They need America. We don't need them, but we'll take them.
That's nationalism, which is racism. Or fascism. Or something.
We'll take them as long as they want to contribute to society. That is what America is. America is about working hard for what you have, making something out of yourself. And that's a beautiful thing that we have, that we take for granted every single day. Now these people who are protesting us, we're not that different because we want our voices heard. But they just don't listen to reason at times. And that's what the problem is. And I remember that incident happened in Florida. And I came to a moment where I thought about it and I was like, those were my fellow Americans that died in that nightclub. I may not agree with how they live their lives, but they're living it in peace. So when they died, a piece of me died because those are fellow Americans. And they have the right to defend themselves just like each and every one of us. Mexico has a southern wall on Ecuador. They have a southern wall, sir. So people who are criminals can't get in unless they go through the legal process. Like I said, we'll take everybody. That's the beautiful thing about America. We just want people to do it responsibly. That's what America is about. It's about living the life you want to live. Do it peacefully. God bless you, patriots. You're all my brothers and sisters. All of you. I love all of you. It doesn't matter what you believe in religiously. I love you because you're Americans. You're here and you want to do what's right.
Being for love and loving all Americans is fascist.
And hold on to what we have. God bless and be safe. Thank you. Hey everybody, my name is Kyle Chapman, also known as Stickman. Friends, countrymen, lovers of freedom and liberty, welcome to the Freedom Rally. Thank you, brave patriots, for joining us here today. It is your bravery that make events like this possible. We can't do this without all of you. Each one of us woke up this morning and decided that today was the day we had enough. Today we stand for freedom. We stand in the face of those which aim to take our freedoms away from us. No longer will we cower in the shadows. It is time we push back against the assault on freedom-loving Americans. This assault comes from all directions. The mainstream media, corrupt government officials, crony capitalism.
Wait, what?
Crony capitalism.
Critical of capitalism? He must be lying. He's a capitalist fascist.
And our education system, which indoctrinates our youth. But today we stand opposed to one specific threat, and that threat is domestic terrorism. They have been relentless in trying to annihilate our constitutional right of free speech. In the past, they have attacked us at our rallies. They have destroyed and burned our communities. They have shut down our events. They have attacked women and the elderly. They attacked us a month ago when we tried to peacefully assemble here in Berkeley. Why? Why did they attack us? They're cowards, yes, they're cowards, and it is also because they are intent upon the destruction of Western civilization. But today is different. They will hear us loud and clear. Enough is enough. No longer will we allow you to intimidate us, attack us without putting up a fight. Mark my words, your days are numbered and Americans will rise up against you. There's one unifying undertone which pervades this all-out assault on freedoms enjoyed by Americans, and that is communism. This ideology spread like a cancer and infected the world since its inception a century ago. Under the false pretense of creating equality and prosperity for all, this unprecedented ideological killer has claimed the lives of over 200 million souls. Mao Zedong, Joseph Stalin, Pol Pot, Che Guevara, the list goes on. All mass murderers, and the ideology these people follow is the ideology of mass murdering scum. In America today, communism has primarily spread under the guise of socialism, democratic socialism. Now we all know, is there really a difference between communism and socialism? No, there is not. They are one and the same. There is no difference between communism and socialism. To quote Vladimir Lenin, socialism is communism. But there is another form of communism pervasive in America today, and that is cultural Marxism. Cultural Marxism aims to destroy Western culture and values in order to reassemble society as a communist dystopia. As we are all well aware, we are well along this path to the destruction of Western culture. We must reverse course, and that starts with us here today. Freedom today faces many grave threats. As I have already outlined, the gravest of them all is the unholy alliance between communism, globalism, and radical Islam. We see these forces destroying civilization, and I pray that it survives. As we all aware, I refer to this evil trinity as neo-Marxism, and it must be destroyed before taking over America. It must be stopped. Free men around the world are waking up to the destruction of neo-Marxism. we here in America elected Donald Trump. Our brethren in Britain have freed themselves of the stranglehold of the EU. Marine Le Pen is surging in France. Even Russia has taken a strong stance against this evil. The warrior spirit has reawakened. People of the West are freeing us ourselves from the chains that bound us. We here in America would declare ourselves free men once again. We are one. We are united. We stand for truth. We stand for liberty. And we stand for freedom! Thank you, everybody. Appreciate you coming out here. You guys are all brave warriors, every single one of you. Let's give another round of applause for Kyle Chapman. The next speaker we have, we're really happy to have him here. He lives in Berkeley. He's part of the Berkeley College Republicans, and he deals with this type of discrimination every day of his life. Please welcome to the stage, Jack Palkovich.
If you folks remember, this evil fascist was beat up the day after the riots in February in Berkeley.
Fight broke out right in front of me about a half an hour ago. A man in the suit actually was wearing a Make America Great Again hat. That's the Trump hat. And a person stopped right in the middle of the intersection, got out of his vehicle, and started beating him up, basically ripping off the hat, and it turned into a big fight.
You see, that was self-defense. That guy had to stop his car right in the middle of the intersection and jump out and attack that guy because self-defense. You know, because these people are recruiting, like, genocide against us, so we have to get these Nazis wherever they are.
Thank you. We're here today, many of us, many students from UC Berkeley today, because we've been attacked, assaulted, demeaned. They've tried to silence us, and I'm proud to say that we will not be intimidated. No! And we will stand up to these communist scum. The speaker before me was right. These are communist scum who believe that their ideal of equality gives them the right to trample on other people's free speech, on other people's constitutional liberties. I'm proud that all of you are out here today to stand up to them and tell these people that we will not be intimidated. We're not going to stop spreading our message in this community and on our campus. We're going to have Ann Coulter here very shortly.
Ann Coulter does not have human rights and should not have civil rights. She's Hitler.
And we're planning to have many other speakers here over the coming year to continue to confront this evil ideology of communist radical Marxism and the people that want to silence our free speech. So I'm happy that all of you are out here today. And I'm going to give the mic back to Rich. Thank you. Thank you, Jack. I'd like to give a round of applause to the Berkeley PD, who today did it right. Give a round of applause. We would not even be here except for our concern that it would go down like it did on March the 4th, and we're very glad to see them do it right this time. That is how it should be done. That's why we're here, to make sure that free speech is nationwide and worldwide. It's a human right. It's a right of your natural born right as an American citizen, and it's your right under the Constitution. We stand for the First Amendment for all Americans. Doesn't matter who you are, what color you are.
Wait.
We stand for the First Amendment for all Americans. Doesn't matter who you are, what color you are.
What?
No matter who you are, what color you are.
Well, obviously he doesn't mean that. They must put their bodies on the line to protect the rights of all people, no matter what color they are, because they want to hide the fact that they're really Nazis.
Like President Trump said, those of us who served understand we all bleed red, and so long as we salute the same flag, we are all Americans. I want to make clear that I reject the white nationalism that's down there who came in here to infiltrate.
Wait.
That is not what we're about.
What?
I want to make clear that I reject the white nationalism that's down there who came in here to infiltrate. That is not what we're about.
Okay, well, obviously they're rejecting the white nationalism that came there to infiltrate the rally because they're just trying to hide the fact that they're white nationalists. How do you like that Kafka trap? Checkmate, fascists. You cannot escape my steel cage logic. If you deny that you're a fascist, it just proves that you're a fascist.
That is not what we're about. That's not what President Trump's about. My family served every generation in the military. My great uncles fought as Marine riflemen in the Pacific. They're 100% Mexican by blood, but they're 100% Americans by their service and by their birth. So we stand united.
Latinos for Trump! Latinos for Trump! Latinos for Trump!
Let this be the start of the turning of the tide for free speech in this nation. There is no such thing as a no-go zone in this country when it comes to free speech. It does not exist. Not on our watch. A lot of our guys have fought overseas. They came back and saw what happened down in San Jose. They saw what happened at the Malo event. They saw what happened here on March the 4th, and they will not stand for it. It's sad. Berkeley was the epicenter of the free speech movement in the 60s, holding a sign outside of the archway.
He's talking about Berkeley going from this to this.
Fuck free speech! Fuck your free speech, bitch!
Well, you know, things change, okay? These days, being for free speech is fascist. Gotta go with the trend of times.
Now it is becoming the epicenter of the no free speech movement, or the F free speech movement.
Fuck free speech!
As we saw last time. Let this be the start of turning that around. We actually have some current serving cops here from California who are here in plain clothes to stand up. And it would have been very embarrassing for the Berkeley PD if they had to have other officers on their own time for free come here and do their job for them. So all I have to say is we are here, and we will be here anytime any American of any color, of any political ideology is under threat of violence. We will be there to stop it, as is our oath, as our oath requires us. Our oath was not to a president. My oath was not to Bush, to Obama, or to Trump. My oath is to the Constitution. Always remember that. God bless America, and may freedom shine from sea to shining sea. God bless.
I was told by my Antifa friends that I was told by some friends that this Brittany Pettibone once wrote a story that turned out to not be correct, and so basically we shouldn't listen to anything she has to say.
Is it? Okay. So, leading up to this event, I had several people tell me that I'm brave for agreeing to come to Berkeley after, what's happened the last several times, for standing up to Antifa, and for speaking my beliefs. I nodded my head, silent, on the inside thinking, if you only knew how wrong you are. Because, to be honest, I am a little bit afraid to be here. Of the threats of violence posed by Antifa, of the repercussions for publicly speaking my beliefs, and even a little bit of public speaking. So at this point, most of us understand why freedom of speech is important, and those who have had their First Amendment rights directly infringed upon likely understand this importance even more so. Others are afraid of being called racist, sexist, bigot, and socially ostracized. I was also called a white nationalist, which I'm not, by Judd Legume, the founder of Think Progress, simply for standing up to the anti-white rhetoric that we're seeing peddled by the mainstream media on a daily basis. Judd Legume then went on to report a GoFundMe campaign that I had launched for $400 in order to purchase equipment for a podcast revolving around traditional values called Virtue of the West, which I had planned to launch and have since launched. Within 1 hour, my GoFundMe campaign was deleted, all the money was refunded, and I was banned permanently from using the platform. When reached out to for a comment, the GoFundMe spokesperson said that my campaign violated the terms of service. It was regarded as hate speech and discrimination. In other words, the propagation of traditional values is now regarded as hate speech and discrimination in the eyes of the left. How did we get here? I mean, I don't know, but after seeing the depths that the left will go to silence us, even going so far as to attack our livelihoods, it's going to take a hell of a lot more than calling me racist or some other slur to make me back down. In accepting this role, in accepting all the repercussions that come along with it, you will undoubtedly inspire another. And that person that you inspired will also go on to inspire another. You are likely already inspiring other people simply for showing up here today. In the face of threats of physical violence, you're still here. And that means something. On that note, as long as we claim to be supporters and defenders of free speech, we must practice what we preach. We must allow all freedom of speech, even that which the left would define as extreme, which, let's be honest, they define most things as extreme. Some might argue that this is dangerous, but I would argue that allowing all beliefs to be spoken, even that which some might define as extreme, it gives people the opportunity to challenge those beliefs, and in some cases to prove them wrong. But I'm telling you now that in reality, a socially accepted status, it holds no true value. I'm telling you now that choosing to remain silent out of a desire for human respect and approval could cause harm not only to you, but to others, and ultimately to our country. Because with how bad things have gotten in America, we now only have two choices. We can fight to reassert our freedoms, or we can allow ourselves to become enslaved. We all need to make this choice. The time's past when we can allow ourselves to be controlled by fear, when we can allow others to take a stand, when we can allow others to speak what we can only silently think about. We're either for a free America or we're against a free America. Unfortunately, there is no middle ground. Thank you.
Might not be as exciting as the punching, but
Lauren Southern, she's obviously a Nazi. She's straight, she's hetero, she's cisgender, and she's only one step below the patriarchal white cishet male.
The manocentric maleocracy.
So whatever she says, just, like when she talks about how communism resulted in the deaths of hundreds of millions, we should just, who cares what she has to say?
Alright, so you guys might be wondering why a Canadian is here at a free speech American patriot rally, but I'm here to give you a warning. Because as a denizen of the cold northern wasteland that is Canada, nothing would please me more than to tell you guys that you will never meet the same fate that we did. That your history of protecting freedom and individualism will keep you safe. Unlike in Canada's system, where we have a full-on assault on Western values, where we have people being arrested for tweets.
Fuck your free speech. Free speech is hate speech, which isn't speech.
Where we currently have motions being passed in our government making it outlawed to criticize Islam.
Look, they just want to spout hate speech about Islam. They want to go up there and talk about how the Quran says that you should fight in the way of Allah until over the whole of the world religion is only for Allah, and slay the unbelievers wherever you find them, and how the Hadith talks about Muhammad having sex with a 9-year-old girl. We can't have them pointing out things like child marriage and old men having sex with little girls, because that's Islamophobic. You have to let these people rape children and wage jihad. If you don't, you're a hater. You're Islamophobic and a Nazi.
And where people are being persecuted for comedy and fined tens of thousands of dollars by a social justice tribunal for the crimes of making offensive jokes. I would love to tell you that America won't end up like that, but that would be fake news. The notion that you are safe from having your freedoms and your culture stripped from you by left-wing malcontents, rather like the notion that you are safe from having your lives stripped from you by Syrian refugees, is fake news. Americans may feel placated by the idea of their Constitution keeping them safeguarded from the same malignant leftist force that have infested Canada. But the reality is that the global ambitions of the enemies of freedom have existed for half a century. And because this is the one country that has stood up to them more than anyone, they're going to come for you harder than ever. And make no mistake, the assault is working more than you realize. As a certain highly triggering problematic writer here from the Bay Area said, Cthulhu swims slowly, but he always swims leftward. Now, some people might look at the masked Antifa out here and think it's silly to put their ideology in the same boat as a reality-destroying elder god as Cthulhu, but these people are not the malignant Cthulhu cultists that I'm talking about. They can't even be said to be his cultists because they're simply the barnacles clinging to Cthulhu's side. Except barnacles aren't that noisy or ugly as Antifa. The real cultists that I'm talking about are the faceless bureaucrats, the ivory tower tenor intellectuals, the globalist neocons, the leftist mouthpieces, better known as the media, which might be here today. Thank you. And all the other neo-Marxists that have convinced people and the public that totalitarianism is dead. But it's simply gone by another name. It's simply gone by social justice, by feminism, by democratic socialism, or even compassionate conservatism. These are all cheap dollar store masks for totalitarianism, or some may even call it communism. Yes, contrary to what most of the nation believes now, communism is alive and well in America. With insidious incrementalism, it has spread through the very foundations of our society, and it is festering in our institutions. And it is transforming our world to their world slowly. And we haven't even noticed how much this nation has changed because we are looking from the inside out. And many of the patriots out here today may be well aware of this reality, but the mainstream media will probably paint me as a paranoid McCarthyite. And they'll paint you as Nazis and as bigots, and they'll downplay the militant, violent leftist force out here today, known as Antifa. And you know what? Politicians in the 70s used to predict that this is what our country would come to. They used to predict that this communist totalitarian influence would come in waves at some point. But what they probably did not foresee was that the totalitarians today would go from looking like Hugo Boss, magazine spreads from hell, to looking like deformed offspring of Hot Topic and Tumblr. But seriously, the more important question about our Antifa friends here is how we got to a point where these people can appear in public as radical supporters of an ideology, communism, that has ensured the deaths of over 100 million people. More deaths than any other political ideology in history. And yet, mainstream society today and the media will paint them as normal. They'll still deny the disgusting fact that communism is well and alive here today in America. It was not always like this. Back in the 1950s, conservatism and traditionalism dominated American and European ways of life. With the threat of communism visibly at the door, people were prepared, they were ready to fight it, and they were ready to stand up to it. So the communists were aware that people were ready for this threat, and they realized that they had to go through other ways to deceive the American populace and to take over the West. They called it the Long March Through the Institutions. Its goal was to infiltrate all sections of society, especially the education system, as many can probably see as the result of UC Berkeley over here. And in doing so, they would slowly shift the bounds of acceptable opinion until communist policies and ideas were portrayed as moderate and practical, with an end goal of complete subversion. In remarks to Congress in 1963, Representative Furlong from Florida laid out 45 goals of communists. And I'd like to just quote a couple here to make my point. Firstly, the communists instructed each other to infiltrate the press, get control of book review assignments, editorial writing, policy-making positions,
And really, who among us who has read the Washington Post or the New York Times or BuzzFeed can deny that this was a massive success? Second, they told each other to gain control of key positions in radio, TV, motion pictures. Speaking of which, I think we've got some media over here. Maybe if there's CNN here or CBS, ABC, MSNBC. Whether those stations are here or not, I would just like to say on behalf of the communists, keep up the good work. Third, they decided to gain control of all the student newspapers. Well, joke's on them, because I'm sure any of you could get an op-ed criticizing social justice published in a student newspaper. Anyone? No? Bueller? No. Right. They got that too. Fourth, they said to continue discrediting American culture by degrading all forms of artistic expression. Today, it's considered art to carry around a mattress and accuse someone of rape. I'd say mission accomplished on that front. Now, fifth, they wanted to break down cultural standards of morality by promoting pornography and obscenity, or as Kim Kardashian calls it, her business model. Sixth, they aimed to discredit the family as an institution, encourage promiscuity, and easy divorce. I can't even crack a joke about that one because it is too depressing and too true. Seriously though, even the most establishment liberals in media will admit that they have succeeded in these tasks and they have infested these institutions. And even if you agree with some of the changes that have been wrought in American society since the early 60s, I think it is obvious that those changes were likely pushed by people who meant to do you more harm than good. And the fact that they have succeeded should scare the hell out of you. President Trump himself has repeatedly brushed up against the rule of subversives, as evidenced by the fact that the entire system is still stacked up against him. With the state populated by a mix of leftists, of globalists, of neocons of all forms.
Wait, what? What did she just say there?
Of neocons of all forms.
She's disparaging neoconservatives? That just does not compute.
Does not compute.
I can't understand that. Look, everything has to be either one polar extreme or the other polar extreme. There are people out there who are trying to undermine our efforts to put everybody into one box or the other box. Don't believe these people. There's no such thing as middle ground. There's no such thing as being independent. There's no such thing as having a view that is not either far left or Nazi. There's no middle ground. So she's only pretending to be against the neocons and the right wing and the Nazis. She is a Nazi.
With the state populated by a mix of leftists, of globalists, of neocons of all forms, why wouldn't it be stacked against him? And while I would love to tell you that Trump can outfox the system by playing 9D underwater backgammon, the reality is that he's going to have a very, very, very tough time fighting it if he is able to at all. And I cannot... Oh, thank you. You can put that on. That's great.
That's better.
Oh! No! And God save Canada. I cannot stress enough, winning these elections is necessary to defeat these people, but it is not all sufficient. With the institutions taken over, the left never has to win a single election ever again to get their agenda onto us. We won a very, very, very big important battle with Trump, but we have not won the war yet. But fear not, I come not to bury the West, but to praise it, however dark the world we live in. The fact is that we can and we will retake it from the weak, sniveling, petty tyrants who have convinced themselves that they are its rightful owners. And while the based stickmen among us might think this will take an SJW skull-cracking revolution, complete with free helicopter rides at its conclusion, I want to propose something simpler and smarter. I say we learn from our ideological opponents. Instead of resting on the laurels that we've now got, one guy in office for 4 years, we need to realize that Trump is only our foot in the door. If we are to succeed at undoing the poisonous system the left has foisted on us, we must become like them, subversive, cunning, and coordinated like never before. If we want to move beyond rallies to lasting institutional change, we must ask ourselves, who is in charge of the police to keep us safe from these violent protesters?
On this question, there's an evil Nazi out there named Justin Anti-Theist who's trying to figure this all out. He's been calling the police, the city manager, and the mayor's office, asking them hard questions about why the police are letting us go out there and riot against the... I mean, the police are KKK, don't get me wrong, but they've been letting us do almost anything we want in Berkeley. They let us throw police flash bombs at these people. And so we don't need people like Justin Anti-Theist and other Nazis trying to figure out why the police are letting us do this by asking tough questions to the mayor's office, the city manager, and the police. So we have to stop these Nazis from seeking justice. From seeking their Nazi ways.
Ask ourselves, who is in charge of the police to keep us safe from these violent protesters? Who is in control of the media reporting on this? Who even signed off on the paperwork that allowed us to have this rally in the first place? Politicians come and go as administrations do, but civil servants, tenured professors, and workforce behind the scenes of our infiltrated government stay from administration to administration. And once we've identified where the real power is and the influence lies, we can dispatch freedom-fighting agents to worm their way in, play the rules as necessary, and then, once they have the power, reclaim control, reverse the decades of damage caused, and gradually roll back restrictive regulations and poisonous social norms. I applaud you all for being a part of the first chapter in retaking the West.
You know, fuck the West. Everything about the West is bad. That's what they teach us in college. They teach us acronyms to remember this, like WEIRD, which stands for Western Educated Industrialized Rich Democracies. And then they tell us that science is a product of WEIRD, and therefore science and objectivity is evil because it's Western. It's part of WEIRD culture. So fuck the West and everything with it. Fuck its equal rights, its human rights, its civil liberties, its science, technology. Fuck all of that. Western culture has to go down. So, fuck the West. As long as I get to keep my cell phone. And my TV. Other than that, fuck the West. Well, my video game system, too. But other than that, fuck the West. Oh, and my car. I want to keep my car. But other than that, except for college, because, you know, gender studies, that's really important. But other than that, fuck the West. Okay, so other than my cell phone, my TV, my car, and my clothing, and the internet, and my video game system. Oh, also Marxism. Marxism came from the West, so that's an exception too. Other than that, the West is entirely bad. So fuck the West, fuck civil liberties, fuck freedom of speech, fuck democracy, it's evil.
I applaud you all for being a part of the first chapter in retaking the West.
Bring our message back to the White House!
Thanks for coming up. And I am in no doubt that we have not seen our hardest days yet. And though the path ahead will be slow and arduous, we are well on our way to ensuring a future where ourselves and the future of the West and our children can speak freely, think freely, and live freely once again. Thank you for coming out, guys.
Stay strong and don't give in to them. They gotta sucker punch people. This is America. We don't stand for that shit. Ow!
Okay, folks, so you heard it with your own ears. These people are spouting hate speech. And remember, hate speech is not speech. And that it's racist if you say that everybody should have human rights. No, everybody shouldn't have human rights. Only people we agree with should have civil rights and should be allowed to speak. Nobody else. You know, some people are criticizing the mayor and the police department for being on our side. Well, they should be on our side. Fuck the Constitution. Fuck the law. Fuck human rights. Fuck civil rights. These people, you know, I'm glad that the cops let us use flashbangs and that they didn't disarm us when we entered the park that day. I'm glad that the mayor's office lies in our defense. This is good. But they are still Nazis, I think. Yeah, the Nazis. They're still Nazis. The cops are still KKK. Even though they're on our side, they're still KKK. So, now you see, folks, why we have to hurl M80 bombs and flashbangs and bring guns and knives next time against these Nazis. You heard them speak. Equal rights for everybody. That's hate speech, okay? So I'm calling on all my Mom, I'm trying to do a video.
What do you mean you're trying to do a video?
I'm doing a video, Mom.
For what?
I'm just cosplaying, okay? I'm just doing a costume. It's a thing for school, Mom. It's a thing for gender studies.
Doesn't sound like it. Why aren't you over here doing the gun like you're supposed to?
I'll be there soon, Mom.
Bullshit, you'll be there soon. You're supposed to get your ass down here right now, young man, and do the line.
Mom, I told you I don't know how to edit these videos and that you can't do it until after I'm done recording. I don't know how to cut this.
Waka waka.